tayo dun pala, yung sa actor. Tanong ko yung mga playwrights na ito yung usual o common tong nangyayari, no, na kapag hindi yung linyang sinulat nyo ang nasabi ng actor sa show,
Maganda yung
sa... no, anong ikaw, anong daw?
Sa akin okay lang, basta yung story hindi nagbabago. Kaya lang,
Siya yung syntax.
oo, at saka yung character, siya pa rin yun. Kasi sineshape mo yung language para ma-build mo rin yung character. Pero kung umaabot sa point na parang may nilalagay yung actor, wala, kasi limitado rin naman magagawa ng playwright kahit sabihin mo hindi nag-work. Kapag nasa stage at ginawa ng actor, wala ka na rin magagawa.
You cannot say stop. No? Lalo yung mga ad-lib, no? Sa ikaw.
Baka pag naka-cloud na yung point nung... Kasi every line naman mayroong objective din sa yung line. So kung may dadagdag siya na naka-cloud na yung main point, kahit isang chunk yun. Or pag... Kasi okay lang din naman mag-adlib ng play for... Or para masaya, maging rich siya, Pero kapag yun na nga yung naka-cloud na niya yung
Carried
point.
away na.
Or yun nga, or umaano dun sa character, tumataliwas. Kasi gusto lang niya magpakitang gilis sa actor siguro or whatever. Or kung na yun. Pero kung nakalimutan niya, maiintindihan ko naman yung mga ganong bagay. So yun, pag kina-cloud na yung point, baka yun lang. Pero don't have issues of changing or rephrasing the text. Basta madulas sa kanya bilang, nag-work sa kanya bilang actor.
Sa akin, may mga lines na it's the thought that counts. So, okay lang na maiba. Pero may mga lines na baka hindi lang nakita nung actor na gagamitin siya later on in the same context or punchline siya na hindi lang niya na-gets. So, parang, yun, may mga
Non-negotiables.
ibang non-negotiables na dapat i-klaro lang sa actor. Kaya mo ito sinabi dahil ito yung reference.
I think enriching yung experience for actors and directors, at least speaking from my perspective, na kapag yung isang line, na kung hindi mo man siya papaguhin, may 3 beats and units kang pwedeng gawin. Parang mahal kita. Posible mo kasi siyang gawin at nagpapalit yung meaning. So, even yung gano'n, yun yung mga tools na nilalaro ng mga actors and directors kasi. So, na hindi na natin kailangang baguhin kung anong salta yun mismo. Baka sa gitna nung salita nagpalit ng beat. Minsan ganun yun eh. So, yun yung nakaka-excite gawin actually.
Personally din kasi I have so much respect for, I guess, the written word in general. So, kahit hindi sinabi ni Herbie noon na bawal mag-adlib, hindi talaga ako mag-adlib on my life. Kasi yun nga, yung lahat tayo may trabaho diba? Director, writer, actor. I will not rewrite what you put down. Parang ganun. Nakakaloka naman. Although, some actors are given
Leeway.
Diba? So, yung adlib sa lang dyan. Pero as long as nasa context ng character. Pero ako, ewan ko ba, I think deeply ingrained sa akin yun, hindi ako makakapag-adlib. Unless wala na talagang,
Unless nakalimutan ng co-actor mo.
Hindi pumasok.
Ay,
May
hindi
dead air.
May lumaktaw.
Patinyo adlib ka.
Ang sarap din as an actor na nagagawa mo organic yung linya.
Yes.
Yung nagawa mo organic, kasi pag napapanood siya, kahit ako as an audience, sunod ako ng parang sa kanya nagaling yung salita. Ang sarap na kung paano yung nagagawa ng actor na organic yung mga lines. So yun din yung interesting din yung papanood.
Sometimes nagko-complain yung actors. Hindi naman ito natural, pero gagawin naman nila, okay. Hindi na natural yung ginaganyan mo, pero pag ginalaw mo siya, at sa gitna ng paghinga, lahat.
And maganda rin sa akin pag halimbawa, yung actor, ito yung role niya, ginawa niya, pero disagree siya dun sa thought process ng character. And then years later, nakita kayo parang, tama nga pala yung sinabi mo. Parang nag-gets niya yung character.
Minsan yung characters natin, hindi siya yung psyche na meron tayo as artists.
Yes.
So, yun din yung binabatay sa actors na minsan parang, hindi, kasi yung character, ganda kasi hindi, husga mo yan. Truth mo yan. Educational background mo yan. Kaya nakita mo siya from that point of view.
But I think if you're an actor, diba, you should be neutral. I mean, I think you should, ang ibigay sa yung role, ibubuhay mo. I'm not that you're not thinking about it, but sometimes I really feel like some actors, especially the more senior one, or not even senior, they feel like they know so I don't know, they're practicing their their need to express themselves, are questioning it beyond what they should be questioning as actors. And I find that rather unfair, whether it's to the writer or to the director.
Meron pa yung gustong sabihin as last.
Well, yung sa akin, made me think ngayon as a playwright naman, not as a director. Because I really, although I trained as a director, I found a voice in playwriting early on. And it made me wonder quite recently because I haven't written really anything. I've been more directing this past years more than writing. Sabi ko, it surprised me kung bakit there was a sudden interest on a work that I've done so many years ago. No, and I'm referring to Buwan at Baril. Back when it was sprouted to me na gagawin, sabi ko, bakit? Parang lumaluma na no, na parang pag binabasa ko, parang this is so
Dated.
dated. I was actually very seriously concerned if it was gonna work. No, even when he called me to, I don't think this will work today. No, but then again, of course, to my pleasant surprise, it worked well, and I thought the readings present gave it like an amazing. You also did a version of it. Sabi ko, bakit? And then I realized na it was a world that I was so familiar with, and you know, you begin writing from that place and trust that world and see what that kind of world opens to you. And I think, you know, many truth. I think that's what we call truth. At that point, you're at your most truthful because you know that world so well, and you want to write about that truth. You know? And I guess that will tide you over through the years. And how I think that's in a way characteristic of the piece. I guess that's why it withstood time dahil you started from a place of truth. Yun.
Saka yung i-respond ako sa Buwan at Baril because I feel like what we're looking for sa isang piece, ito yung mga material na timely at timeless. So, yung dalawang bagay na yun, and that was yung Buwan at Baril for us.
Of course, when you're writing that, you don't think.
Yes.
You don't think of that.
So,
So,
yun
feeling ko nga dun,
Oo.
very time-bound.
At ikaw, director, yung time, parang may timelessness ba siya eventually? You know, given the pag-isip.
But I think more than, and I agree with Chris, write about something, it has to be, especially early, it has to be something really, so you have passion for, you feel for, and because dun lalabas yung, especially I think in the early years, so that you can also practice with, realm that you know. So sometimes kasi that's what, I have a problem when I read some of the plays that, yung, parang yung writer, napakalutang, or alam mo ba talaga to, etching? Yung ganun kasi parang it's not grounded in a truth. So when you say write about something, that's so grounded in so I think that's really very important that when I read the script, I don't feel the writer's just kinda imagining stuff just for the heck of, or feeling niya nakaka-imagine siya ganun. Kasi you can tell, di ba, there are scripts that just have that gravitas and that kind of integrity. Yung hinahanap. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but in its core, nakaplanta yung seed. So, write about something you feel for. And
Siguro for writers, expand your experiences, parang yung areas. Parang you get to write about this one, this one, this one. And it's going to be grounded in truth.
I think that qualifies yung stand ni Kazuo Ishiguro, no? Sabi, you don't have to write from your personal experience, but you really have to write about something that you will know, or no? At kung hindi mo alam yon, magsaleksik ka na talaga ng sobra-sobra hanggang maging mahawakan, halos mahawakan mo.